welcome back to First Step Self.
I'm Shanique.
I'm Shantia.
And this is our second video, episode 2 of childhood trauma. We are going to dig in and go deeper into childhood trauma and what that looks like. And if you haven't seen our first episode, I will link it below. And also it'll be linked to the relatable. So here we go. We're going to dive in.
Yeah.
You're going to say, yup.
Yeah. That's too much now.
Okay. So we wanted to go, like I said, and start and talk more about childhood trauma because we briefly touched the surface.
We want to go in depth.
Yeah. So, what are some signs of childhood trauma?
Emotionally unavailable parents
Mm-hmm.
and neglect,
Absolutely.
abuse.
Yes. Abandonment.
Yeah.
Well, neglect is kind of
right,
abandonment as
come on,
well. And also name calling.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes our parents get upset and don't realize, when you're extremely angry, you will pop off your mouth and say something that you don't mean, but at the time it was just something that, you said out of anger.
Mm-hmm.
And if we do have parents on here, I would really recommend that even if you slip, we're not perfect. It's going to happen. If you do slip, you should be mindful of retracting that and, have a sit down with your child and talk to them about that and let them know that it was out of anger and you don't mean those things because we're not perfect. And also it does affect the child in the long run. It affected me. You don't realize it affects you until you get older and you try to step out and do certain things and you look back and be like, why am I so timid to do certain things, or why do I feel so, like, how can I say this, but you don't feel motivated, you don't feel like it's something you can accomplish. And most of that comes from your childhood. And one thing Jamaica love to say is what you think I'm gonna say, Shani?
I don't know. Jamaica always says
They say something like you're not gonna amount to nothing, or you're not gonna amount to anything. And it's not just you're not gonna amount to anything.
I would never tell my kids that.
Right.
That's a dangerous word. Don't say that to your kids.
Because
that word is dangerous.
Yeah, and our words are spells, and our words are so powerful, and we take that very lightly, especially in our Jamaican culture, and it really affects you in the long run because it's always in the back of your head that this person said, or whoever it is.
It's because at the end of the day, you look up to your parents first. So you look up to your parents first. They're the first role model in your life. So anything your parents said, that's what everybody else gonna say. So it all come back down to childhood. So anything you experience in childhood, that's what's going to affect you when you get older.
Right. And it doesn't have to be your parents because it wasn't mine. Yeah, it doesn't have to be your parents. True. But it could be anybody. Yeah.
Anyone of your family member,
right.
friend, anything like from your young. Right. And the next thing I want to say is don't be afraid to tell your kids sorry.
Yes.
Like you need to apologize to your kids. Like when you're writing so much to them, let them know that they're valued. Apology, let them know that they're valued, that their voice matter. And let them know that certain stuff that you do, it's not right. So at least my mom and my dad say it's not right. So other people know it's not right.
Right.
Yeah.
And respect.
Yeah, respect. Oh, yeah.
A lot of, I have to keep saying Jamaica because, that's our culture. Yes. So that's, and I'm sure Hispanics did it as well, and different,
Nigerians.
Yes, as well.
People always say Nigerians and Jamaican parents are like the same.
Really hard, right?
Yeah.
So I just feel like at the same time, you have to show your kids respect. Like, what do you think this is? Like, I think that's so crazy how you feel like you can't respect your kids. Mm-hmm. And then how is your kid supposed to show you respect or respect others and respect themselves if you don't respect them? Like, that's where they learn it. They learn it in the home. Mm-hmm. So if you are name calling, doing certain things to them, anybody in the streets are going to be able to do the same thing to them.
Especially if they see that, like, imagine you outside talking about a person, talking about your child in front of a person. That person not gonna respect you because they're gonna say, you talk to your own child like that?
Exactly.
I'm gonna talk to him like that also.
Exactly.
So when they see you treat your child a certain way, this happened to me. When I treat my child a certain way, people have to follow.
Right.
And they always start like, ooh, you act like your child better than, yeah, my child is better. And so now you know to follow what I do so you can respect my child. Because if I don't respect my child, you're not going to respect my child, and my child is not going to respect herself.
Absolutely.
I have daughters, so I'm saying herself. Like, you have
especially
to.
daughters.
Yes, you have to. Like, I remember growing up, it was my own aunt, my own cousin that I was so close to. I love them to death. I love them to death. They like, you're not turn out for be nothing. Only thing you gonna do, I have baby. Now do nothing with your life. You know how that affects me? Like, you know how long it take for me to realize that I'm worthy of more than what they're saying? Like, it does affect you, okay? It does. A lot of people feel like it doesn't, but it does. Like, it does. Especially if you love a person so much and you look up to them, and to hear them saying that, you're gonna believe them.
Right.
Yeah, it's hard to get out of it because your parents don't really tell you, like, don't listen to certain things.
And even if your parents tell you not to listen,
well, that's true.
Like, people would like say, "Oh, words are what's that thing? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but we're."
Oh, and they have this familiar thing is, don't listen to that. They're still family. Oh yeah, they're still family. Don't make sake of that you don't talk to your cousin or your auntie. They're still family.
Yeah.
I want to say something, but yeah, I want to keep it cute. But yeah. No, it doesn't matter who they be. Like, if a person cross you those way, like, cut it off.
Yeah, you have
like,
to set boundaries.
Yes.
Because if you don't set boundaries and stand up for yourself, who is going to stand up for you?
Right.
And even if your parents, some parents are people pleasers. Mm-hmm. Some parents are cowards as well. Yep. Some parents will not stand up for you.
It's true.
And you have to be, at a young age, it doesn't matter.
Stand up for yourself.
Stand up for yourself.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you're not an advocate in your corner or anything, you don't have an advocate in your corner. Like, you need to know that you are worthy of respect, mm-hmm. and you should be treated accordingly. Yes. So it runs super deep, and there is, like I said, a lot of things that we think that didn't affect us, like words. Words are very powerful.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It varies. It's very powerful. That's I'm careful what I say to my girls. I will come and like, mommy, you said something to hurt my feelings. I will sit down and say, what did I say? And try to talk it out. Apologize too.
Yeah.
Yes, apologize. I remember I couldn't even say that when I was young. I couldn't even confront my parents and like, you say something that they would go sit down, you're lucky me never say something worse.
Or
yeah, are you want me
would I give you something to cry about?
Yeah, like stuff like that. So when you say stuff like that, it basically shut down a child. So when they get older, they can't stand up for themselves. Nope. They don't know to speak up for themselves. So it affect them big time. So trust me, it affect them, and it affect how people view you, how people talk about you. I'll come back down. So when people say stuff about you, the other people say it, the other, and they continue.
Right. Like, and another big thing is allowing your child, or allowing, even yourself, to express yourself. Mm-hmm. Like, being able to express yourself is huge. And if you are around people and you feel like you can't tell them how they're making you feel, it's a problem, because at that point you're losing your power to that person. Mm-hmm. And the more that you don't stand up for yourself and you keep everything down, it all bottles up, and you get stressed, you get depressed, you have anger. Yeah, so much anger builds up inside, because
a lot of anger in people.
Yeah,
you can like
not only people, me too. But when I was saying, like, everything that we're talking about is definitely from experience of seeing people, and me too. Like, I know that when I was keeping my mouth shut, I was super angry because I could never tell that person how they were making me feel. And when I wasn't, you would also take out the anger on other people that don't even deserve that type of anger. Because it's not them that's doing it to you. It's like that, you feel like, oh, I can't come and say that to them because this and that. And yeah.
Yeah. And it also looked different because you saying you were angry, it didn't affect me that way. It affect me in anxiety when I lock away myself.
Oh yeah, I was
Yeah,
big on that too.
lock away myself. I have anxiety all the time. Like least little stuff somebody say about me, like I'm having an anxiety attack. Like it's not in it never like bad like some people have it, but still affect me. And it's like, oh, I'm shunned because that's what I'm used to. Just
Right.
always lock away myself, don't have a voice. So it really it affect me big in my adulthood. Like I have to stand up. When I start having kids, I have to stand up. Like yes, you didn't have no one to stand up for you. You didn't have no one to do this and do that. But you have to start heal that part of you so you can stand up for your kids. So your kids don't have to experience that.
Right.
Yeah.
So that is really big. Like I said, I mean, I had anger because, like I said, there was things I wasn't saying, and definitely shutting myself away as well. Being in my room, if there's something going on that I don't like, I will come home, just go in my room and stay in my room the whole time and just ignore everything instead of going to that person and letting them know, hey, I'm feeling like this or I'm feeling like that. And there's a lot of unhealthy things that come from just not speaking up for yourself. And I'm telling you, it will definitely set you free.
Yep.
Yeah. And what else? What else can we say? How did you people please? She's like, oh.
People please me. Oh, girl. People please a lot.
How do people please?
So for me, I people please out of guilt because I want that person to feel comfortable being with me or being around me. I would do stuff that basically jeopardize my happiness to make them feel comfortable. So it doesn't matter what it is, I'm going to do it so you can stick around for and not to feel certain type of way. Like growing up, I used to like feel a way, so I hate letting people feel uncomfortable because I know it feel. So each time a person get uncomfortable, I try to do every little thing so they could be comfortable even if it costs me my happiness.
Right.
So that's how I people please.
How did I used to? I mean, it looks the same way for me too, but I never thought about it as guilt until you were talking about it. To me, I people please so that way, I guess with my abandonment issues, I left Jamaica when I was 5 years old. So I left my mom. So for me, I felt like, I guess I was trying to make that up. So anyone that did come around, I'll always be like, oh, you want me to do this? Or people pleasing in that way of anything that they needed to be done. I would be the one to do it. I was always like busting my ass to like make a point, or do you see me? Like, hey, you see me? Like, I'm doing everything for you. You like me? You like me? You should love me. You should stay around. I'm your best friend. Like craziness. Like even with friendships, and that's how I saw it big time. Like I had friendships where my friends were not doing the same thing I was doing, and because they were making up for that in different ways, I felt to myself like I was the better friend, but it wasn't healthy. It was very unhealthy. So the best advice I can give with that is definitely give the same energy. Always.
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 That's a lesson I learned.
What? And I was the one that always were like, I was a person that I would do everything that person needs to be done, and then I would sit back and complain, well, I did this, I did that, how come you're not a good friend because you didn't do what I did. And I'm like, girl, no one asked you to do that.
Yes.
You were doing that so they could love you. You were doing that so they could be comfortable and say, well, Shanique does this and she's,
It's basically buying love too.
Yeah.
That's a big thing, buying love.
Yep. And some people do it with money, and some people do it with acts of service, I would say, and like overly. And yeah, and like I said,
a lot of people don't recognize it either.
No.
So they're doing it like buying people's stuff. Oh, because I want that person to talk about me, but they don't realize like it is people pleasing to keep person around. And then when you do stuff like that, it's either you attract the wrong person in your life, or you get a leech. Because sometimes some people come in your life, they're not bad, but they're so used to you doing so much. Right? We're all human. Come on. If somebody keep on continue doing stuff for you, you're going to always look out for something.
Right.
So it's all about that person who keep giving. It's a boundary thing. So if you don't put up your boundary, that person going to always be there taking, and then you're going to say...
Yo, I'm telling you, that one hits home for me, okay? That hits home for me because I was always the person to be doing above and beyond in my relationships with my partners. And at the end of the day, I wasn't getting what I was giving. And then I was looking back at it like, well, he doesn't do this. I'm like, well, if you treat this person a certain way and you're always giving,
You're used to it, yeah.
What do you think they're gonna do? They're gonna sit back and let you do everything that you were doing because it feels great and you're not complaining. You're just doing what you're doing, like it's who you are, and it's not okay. It's not okay. You have to set boundaries. So that was a good topic, and that hit me. That especially the guilt thing. I didn't really look at it as guilt until she said that.
What are some things that traumatized you when you were younger?
She said, yup. Wow. Some things that traumatized me when I was younger was, like I said, the abandonment thing was big for me because that's why I was people pleasing. I feel like that set the tone for me not to really have any boundaries. And I did have a lot of bad, how would you say, verbal abuse. I would say I was verbally abused, and I think it struggle with me when I'm like about to do something big in my life, like because I don't think there's times I didn't think I was worthy of those things, and even when I did do things that were big, I never looked at it as big. I just was like, oh, whatever, I did this.
Nothing.
I never did, and
it's not myself too.
Yeah, I accomplished.
It's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal. Yeah, whatever. I went to school. I did this, and so I always like downplay everything that I was doing because that's that's a sign of verbal abuse as well. Because it always played back in my head, and it's very important to do meditation and try to like rewire the things that you were told as you were young. And I have a hard time meditating, but I'm getting there.
Not talking.
Yeah, now I can sit in silence, but for me to really sit in depth and just go through my childhood, and like I said, I like to downplay a lot of things. Like, I don't think my childhood was terrible, but there were some things that impacted me. And even when I was doing my hypnotherapy, there were different sessions that I had to do, and I did everything but my childhood. So that says a lot.
Yep.
That was me avoiding it, and not good, but I'm slowly getting there. And even today, going on camera today, for me, I was like, I'm not ready. And she was like, why aren't you ready? And I was like, because it's still like
that to show you that everybody deal with it differently. Because some people with outspoken can tell you everything, and then some people like, I'm not ready to, I can't manage it, like I'm not ready.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What were some things that traumatized you?
Traumatized me when I was little. Abuse. Physical abuse.
Wow.
Yes, so I was physically abused by my mother ex-boyfriend. Yep. He was beating the hell out of me, okay? We were in a very domestic violent situation. Disclaimer.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about this to bring down anybody.
Right.
Anybody. This is just my experience. This is what I go through, and I can talk my truth.
Right.
So we were going through a really tough domestic violence. Yeah, you were there because you...
Yeah, I was not there.
Yes, she wasn't there. We didn't grow together.
Yeah.
So I was going through that. It was a really, really hard time. It affected me in my teens. It was my teens. It didn't spill over in my adult, which I can't even say that.
Right.
But I think it more affect me in my teens when I have to sit down and say, okay, think about everything and then forgive that person. And I actually forgive that person. I remember one night it come up so strong that it was daddy I called and I was telling him about it and he was like, I'm sorry I wasn't there for you and stuff like that. It gave me a sense of closure and a sense of calmness knowing that he wanted to be there but circumstances he couldn't be there.
Yeah.
So it healed some part of me. I know that it's already happened. It's part of my journey.
Mm-hmm.
I love my mother to death and I don't blame her for anything.
Right,
They only do what they understand and know, okay?
Right.
So I don't blame anybody. I still talk to that guy today. Like
Right.
he could pass me and call to me. Like he don't see me and not saying hi to me and I don't see him and not saying hi. Like we talk but we don't like have a good clingy relationship. But if he see me, call to me. If I see him, I call to him. So
Right.
you have to forgive.
Right.
That's the only way to healing and moving forward. You have to forgive.
Right.
Because we're all here on a soul purpose.
Not only
on
that,
a journey.
Not only that, but I feel like if you don't forgive that person, it's affecting you more than it's affecting them.
Yeah, because
you have that in your heart. You're going to have to carry that for a long time. And it's not okay. Like, you just have to release it and know that, like she said, we came here on a journey. We came here to learn. Life is about learning lessons and moving. Realizes that life is about hard lessons as well. And you just have to forgive, let go, and just know that, you came here for a purpose. And she loves to say, we signed up for that. I'm like, I hate when she says that.
I know.
It's like, you signed up for that. You did what you
so
came
funny.
back for.
That's the only thing that helped me on my journey, especially with
Okay, share with them what you've been learning
Yes.
about. She believes in past lives. And also that when we come in,